Hey, Runa, welcome to the Get in the Mode podcast.
Hi, thanks for having me, David.
Of course. Well, for the benefit of our listeners and people who are watching this on YouTube, can you introduce yourself? Tell us what you've been up to.
Right. Well, I originally come from Iceland, that place that people find exciting, exotic, actually starting a new eruption there. So I think people will be flocking. That's where I was born, and that's where I spent my first career as an entrepreneur. I formed a wholesale company that I ran for 20 years, and retail store actually as well. And then I sold those two businesses and took on the journey on adventure to the United States, and started in Santa Fe, New Mexico. I am now in Los Angeles, and what I do now is I help leaders in a way to wake up to the next level of their journey, leadership journey.
That inner nagging, which kind of kickstarted this journey, it was I don't know if it was related to those big events that happened in your life. Sometimes it does. What does that feel like for people that you come across? What are some symptoms that you see? What should someone look for? Like, hey, I don't think because a lot of times when you have a job or when you are a leader, an entrepreneur, you're just kind of doing problem solving your life, and you're just kind of going with the flow. Perhaps you're successful. Perhaps you've got, from a Maslow's hierarchy standpoint, you have safety, security, maybe even a sense of belonging with your relationships and friends that you have, or maybe a community that you're a part of. What's the nagging that one should pay attention to?
Well, I can share with you. Well, there was one word that described that for me, and in a particular moment that I was preparing one morning to go to work, putting on my makeup, and I looked in the mirror, and what I saw was a robot. And I got really startled. I said, "Who are you?" I don't want to be a robot. And that was really the turning point for me to decide I don't want to be a robot. I want to be something more. There has to be something more. What my clients often talk about is some kind of dissatisfaction, even though everything is perfect on the external. There is a nagging dissatisfaction, like something is missing. Sometimes it's loneliness, even though they are in the midst of community, family, community at work. There is still this nagging loneliness. And in a way, I see it as a disconnection. I see it as a disconnection from the deeper parts of ourselves and really deeper parts of life. But disconnection is not usually what they come up with, but it is this it's this nearly feeling like there is a hole in their heart, that there is something really deeply missing. And sometimes people go into burnout, and then it is more physical. It's exhaustion. It's literally all the symptoms of stress and anxiety that can end up in burnout. So it could be very physical, but sometimes that's not the case. That was not the case for me, but it was the emotional part that was screaming at me that something was not right.
I'm curious about your current practice. You've talked about the 4 dimensions of well-being intelligence. Can you expand what those are, what the 4 are?
Yeah, it is the heart, the mind, the body, and spirit, and our relationship to those, and what you are doing to kind of cultivate all of these areas. And I think we spend a lot of time with the mind. We have a belief that the mind is God. And we believe everything that the mind tells us. And I think the practice there is to start questioning the mind, questioning our thoughts, questioning our emotions and our beliefs and habits, and see if they are really serving us right. And that is part of the practicing, raising our level of consciousness to really notice and become aware, to cultivate that self-awareness, to become aware of where the mind is taking us. And the mind usually is in charge at the expense of our feelings, our heart, which actually knows everything. That's where I think the soul resides. And then the body has wisdom as well, body wisdom. And we often just use this body like an instrument that doesn't need any maintenance. You know, we take care of our car or our computer or phone, update our phone, but we keep on using that body without taking care of it, without any self-care or nurturing or learning to listen to what the body is trying to tell us. And then the fourth one is the spirit, that partnership that I talked about. Are we in partnership? Are we in connection with something bigger than ourselves?
Yeah. Well, Rúna, it's been a pleasure chatting with you today. I, hope our listeners enjoy this quick chat. Thank you for being on the Get in the Mode podcast.
Thank you so much, David, for inviting me. I really enjoyed it.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for listening to that clip from the Get in the Mode podcast. To watch the full episode of the podcast, click the link in the show description. Also, consider subscribing to the Get in the Mode YouTube channel to directly see new episodes on your YouTube feed.